So, welcome back to Camp K9, and we're in the chicken house today, or we're in bits of the chicken world. So, here are some of my girls outside. I would say they're sunbathing, but there's not enough sun, but they're all huddled around the dust bath, apart from the Orpington, who's wandering here. But that's not what I'm here to show you today. Well, hello, ladies. You want to be stars of the camera, don't you? Well, we're not focusing on you today. Or you, my sweetie. Where might we find Chris, our silky cockerel who has reached maturity? Because this video is kind of all about him. So, Chris got the fancy for some of the girls. He started off a couple of weeks, 18 days ago, no, probably about a month ago. And his fancy was initially the Orpington girls. Probably the only ones that would actually let him climb up on board. So I kind of watched him for about a week, and then I thought, okay, let's kind of see if he's got anything in him. So I got the incubator back out again, and 5 days in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I collected the Orpington's eggs, and then I put them in the incubator for 10 days, and then I candled them. To me, and I'm not that good at this, the first 4, 3 definitely, but possibly 4, did not look like they had been fertilized. But egg 5 potentially looked like it was fertilized. So by the time I was aware that there was 1 potentially fertilized and 4 not, they had already been in here for 10 days. So the question was, right, what do I do from here? Potentially I've got 1 chick in 1 egg and 4 other eggs that aren't fertile. And during that period, one of the Orpingtons decided to go and get Broody on me. So I kept trying to sort of persuade her out of being broody, and then I was like, this is not going to work. This is definitely not going to plan. So I thought, okay, she's going to go broody on me, she's going to go broody on me. And she's not been laying very long, so my thoughts were kind of along the line. Hi, Chris. My thoughts were kind of along the line, well, she doesn't really know what she's doing, so the chances are that she might go broody for a bit and then she might forget what she was doing and decide to get on with life again. Who knew? So I kind of gave it a few days, and then I thought, okay, no, she's quite determined she's going to be broody. So on one day, about a week or so ago, I'll have to look at the diary to see the exact dates, I decided to collect the eggs from one day and to put them under her. These were all the eggs, and I didn't know at this point in time who Chris had been mating with. I had seen him on some of the eggs commercials. I had seen him on at least one of the leg bars, if not both of them, and obviously the Orpingtons as well. And she was broody, so she wasn't laying. So I collected up a day's worth of eggs and I put them underneath her. And she's basically been underneath them since. There's just one problem, and that is that it says that, or the advice I was given was that you need to make sure that once a day she gets off of the eggs and she has something to eat and drink. Have you ever tried to persuade a chicken to get off her eggs and go and have something to eat and drink? Luckily, she's got a bit more amenable to it. But see how she puffs herself up when I get near her. Okay, she's going to let me touch her. She's got better at this because I've had to persuade her a little bit each time. But when I first started doing that, she was having a go at me for getting anywhere near her on the first days. Now, I managed to get her out, and I managed to get her to have something to eat and something to drink, and then I would put her back up into the nest box again. And that worked for a couple of days, probably for a few days actually. We probably did quite successfully that for a few days. And then one day I took her off of the eggs and she took a wander down the garden. And I was like, oh crap. When you're incubating eggs, it's really important that you don't mess up. They're all just wandering past and wondering why I've shut the door off, because I wouldn't be able to sensibly take a video of you for you with them all over me trying to get part of the video. This is Myrtle, by the way, anyone that's watching her in the background. Yes. Sorry, sweetie. Am I disturbing you? Are you trying to sleep? So, where was I? Oh, yes, so she took off down the garden and I was thinking, oh, crap. Because if you incubate eggs in an incubator, it's all about keeping constant temperature, don't let them get cold, keep the temperature right, and it gets really worrying if you let the eggs, you can't let the eggs cool down. You'll kill the chicks inside them. So I'm thinking, how on earth do they do this in nature? Because she's got off and she's headed off down the garden, went into a blind panic, grabbed all the eggs, took them inside, put them into the incubator along with the first 5. And then later on, I don't know how much later on, because I had to do some things and I wasn't keeping an eye on her. She came back and she got back into the nest box again. So a little bit later on that day, I came back and saw this and put some of the eggs back into the egg box, into the nest box for her. So she is back sitting on some eggs again. Now, I still have some of the eggs in the house, in the incubator, and she has some eggs underneath her. And then today, when she got out for her lunch, I was looking at the eggs underneath her and I was thinking, I don't remember putting this many eggs underneath her. Now, I had marked all the eggs that were underneath her as either, because I candled them at what must have been about a week or 10 days. I must have candled them. Are you upset you can't come in? And I had marked numbered each one of them, and then marked the ones that I thought were fertile. And I had a look at the eggs that were in the nest box, and 2 of them didn't have anything written on them. And I had seen this. I had witnessed this in some of my other times in here, that I'd walked in the room and found that in that nest box with her was one of the leg bars. And basically what has been happening, they are so annoyed. Let's let them in. There we go. They're happier now. They wanted to get to some of this. So, what's been happening is that Madam here and her sister have been getting underneath her and laying eggs underneath her. So, before I actually took them inside, put them in the incubator, candled them, marked them, there is a good chance that there were more eggs in there, which I didn't really pay attention to at the time, but more eggs in there than I had originally put in underneath her. This is some of their food that I've watered and made go to seed, because it's high in nutrition, which I was hoping would help Madam in here, who's on the nest most of the time. Anyway, so when I had a count up, 1 egg, blue egg, 2, 3, 4, and there are 2 underneath her that I put in underneath her. So I must have collected these without really thinking about what I was collecting, because I only put under her 2 blue eggs when she went broody, and I decided to put some eggs under her. So 2 of these blue eggs, either from here or underneath her at the moment, went under her on day 1, but the other 4 got laid under her at another time. And guess what was under her today? There you go, 2 more eggs without any markings on them. So yes, they're still doing that. A challenge I did not realise I would have to deal with. But it's not too big a challenge. They haven't got marks on. When I take her out for something to eat, I can check her nest to see if she's got any unmarked eggs in there and remove them. However, this is the situation I'm in now. With eggs, you put them into lockdown. You have them in these rocking baskets for the first 18 days, and then you put them into lockdown, take them out of the baskets, lay them down, and on day 21 they hatch. That one is on day 18 now, that one's on day 19, 20, 20 and 21. Sorry, that didn't come out right. That one is on day 18 now, so that's 17, 16, 15, 14. So when that one is ready to potentially hatch, this one is still 4 days away. And these ones in here are a good week behind them. So I have a challenge. Plus, that one, and that one are definitely pretty much sure they aren't fertile. The last two, most likely. The last one, pretty much definitely. So how am I going to cope with this? This is not something I'd really thought through. Now, considerations, can I take these 2 runs out of the incubator? Had a look, they don't seem to separate, so that's not an answer. So I am challenged as to what to do. This little group here need to hatch in the next few days, and these ones here have got another 2 weeks behind them. And then this happened today. This, my sweetheart, is fondly known as Red. She is our oldest chicken. We have no idea how old she is, but she could well be 3-4 years old, and the ex-commercials really only have a lifespan of about 3 to 4 years old. So she is pretty much at geriatric age level now. And she decided to go broody. I wasn't 100% sure whether she was broody. I thought maybe first of all she was a bit ill and I was worried about her. But when I went near her, she made similar noises to the other ones. To Tweedledee, sorry. And so I offered her an egg. Ladies, I am trying to video here. Are you enjoying those? I'm so pleased. They're for the nursing mums. Those Reds will have absolutely everything. Anyway, I offered her an egg. It's all right, sweetheart. I'll move away. So it looks like our little old lady has decided to go brooding. Now, I've put under her an egg that I'm pretty sure isn't fertile. So I can watch her for a couple of days and see if she is seriously broody or whether she's just actually rather exhausted and wanting a rest. But when I offered her the egg earlier on, she scooped it up and she took it in underneath her. So I've given her a bit of added privacy. Her own flock will be the only ones that come in here. The Reds, they just don't really leave them in a lot of peace. And no, you haven't got another egg to lay, and you're not going to lay it for Reds to incubate, darling. So basically the plan is, or my plan is, I think, because Red's so much older, there is no way she could cope with incubate. Well, I don't think there's any way that she could cope with incubating an egg for 21 days, given how old and frail she is. So what I'm going to do, because I'm stuck with those 5 that potentially well, 3 I'm pretty sure are not fertile, and 2 are possibly fertile. I think I'm going to wait until we're a little bit closer to those 2 hatch dates. Keeping an eye on, what did she have? She had something, didn't she? Something that obviously everybody wanted. So yeah, when we're closer to the hatch dates, then I'll put those ones underneath her. So she only has to stay broody for about another few days, I would say. If she remains broody, then great. If she doesn't, then I'm going to have to come up with a plan B for those ones that are already in the incubator. I did not think I was going to be facing this, but I am. Learning curve of having chickens. That's Chris trying to court the girls, but he's not great at always doing that to the right birds. He's got different methods. Anyway, so yeah, so that's going to be my plan, I think. If Red remains broody, then she possibly may get to raise a chick in the next few days. And the Orpington, if she remains broody, then when we get closer to the date, I might sneak those extra eggs from the incubator in underneath her so that she can raise them naturally, rather than me do it unnaturally. And that will be one of the most beautiful things to see. So I will leave you with pictures of the chickens and young growers.